to officiate such events, and sometimes given an opportunity to train other members of parliament, I usually tell them, don't say hello to people you're not sure they'll say hello back. So I heard from this morning that our CWP chair said good afternoon, and people were very attentive and they said it's morning. So I realized, okay, these ones are ready to say hello back. So, because it's not funny to say hello to people and then they are quiet. So it's good to be here. But let me take this opportunity to register my appreciation by the fact that I'm invited as a guest of honor to come officiate this very important workshop. So I don't take it for granted by the fact that I'm a female speaker and that I'm invited. So thank you so much, the steering committee of CWP Africa region, for giving me the honor of coming here as a guest of honor. And I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome you all to Tanzania. And I understand some of you have traveled long distances, and a number of countries have been mentioned here from where you come from. You're all welcome to Tanzania, the land of Kilimanjaro, and I can see the Kenyan colleagues here nodding. So the land of Kilimanjaro, Serengeti National Park, and Zanzibar. And I mentioned Zanzibar particularly because in this workshop, since the Tanzanian delegation is equally here, you will have a chance, since you're going to discuss one of the issues, is the ways of increasing the number of women in parliament. So here you have all the types of women that we have in parliament. And I represent one of the groups. She represents the minister for gender, represents another group, and the group seated there represents another group. So you will have a chance to learn from all these groups and how we find ourselves in the house. Since you're going to be learning from each other, I am sure these experiences will help each of our countries to go back and see how we should work on our challenges. I'm aware that this is the second seminar that is being held in Tanzania. The first one was held in Arusha before COVID-19, and this is the first after COVID, and it's still in Tanzania. So thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to host again the seminar. And much as I understand, and as I've just noted, that you have all traveled long distances, but your coming here demonstrates your commitment, but also your parliament's commitment to increasing the number of women in our houses. And I keep insisting this because I believe the trainers are ready to share how we are going to increase the numbers. There are other challenges as well, but we could decide to prioritize of the challenges that we are facing in increasing the number of women, and I believe we will all reach there. So your presence here is much as you're welcome, but also we take of the cognizance that you have to work hard to ensure that you come out with the deliberations that the Secretary General has just mentioned, that they'll be sharing to our parliaments for us to work on them. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Zainab Gimba from Nigeria for being elected to the position of chairperson of CWP International during the CWP meeting that was held in Halifax, Canada in August 2022. So we are so happy to have you, because this position could have gone anywhere. I mean, this is a world position, but it has come to Africa and to none other than you. So we're all very proud of you, and being a woman, we know you're going to do your job so well, and all the challenges that will be discussed here, you will take them on board to be able to transmit them to other parliaments and other women leaders all around the world. So good luck with this task that you have been doing. Ladies and gentlemen, I've looked at your program and I understand, apart from the question of increasing the number of women in parliaments, you're also going to discuss the achievements of women members of parliament, which is very important. I have just congratulated our CWP chair for CPA International. It's important that we celebrate, however small achievements we have achieved, we should celebrate them as we move forward. We can't keep complaining all the time. We have to take stock of our achievements, where we came from, where we are, and we address the challenges that have, dragged us back, something like that. So I understand you're going to discuss the achievements, and I believe you'll be sharing stories that will inspire the members of parliament who are attending this seminar, but also those who haven't had the opportunity to attend this seminar. I'm sure they'll hear from you when you return to your respective parliaments. But also, I've seen that you're going to discuss the challenges, and I believe you're going to discuss these challenges, well, not in a negative way, but in a positive way, because you're also going to look at the opportunities that these challenges provide to us as women to be able to showcase what we are capable of doing. And since you're going to discuss the challenges and the opportunities, and out of those opportunities, I believe one of those will be how we are going to increase the number of women in our parliament, so we have women representation at high levels as well. I would like to emphasize that while the impact of an increase in the number of women in parliaments cannot be underestimated, the focus should now be on how women members of parliament can have meaningful participation and can make visible contribution, and thereby making a difference between a woman and a man in the society. People should be able to tell when a woman is in leadership and when a woman is not. Yes. Because if we don't, then we are stuck. We must show the difference. And showing the difference is not usually, I don't like discussing it, but usually it's not how we look, it's not how we dress, it's not how we appear, it's how we impact the society. So I believe this seminar is going to give an opportunity to these female members of parliament who are here to be able to first show the difference, to make a difference in the society. And I'm sure all of you here can do that, and that's why you have been selected by your respective parliaments to come and be here, because they know you can make a difference. The same way, I trust my own who are here, I believe they will be sharing their experiences with the other members of parliament who are not here. Ladies and gentlemen, Sustainable Development number 5, which has been amplified by our UN country representative, acknowledges that gender equality is necessary for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. Notably, around the globe, there has been progress over the last decade where more girls are going to schools and more women are serving in parliament and leadership positions, among others. Despite these gains, women continue to be underrepresented at all levels of political leadership. For instance, among the 19 speakers of the national parliaments of the CPA Africa region, it's only 7 who are women. That is equivalent to 36.8, or you could say 37%. We would want that to increase. And some of you here, I can see you're younger than me. Maybe you're aspiring to be speakers of your own respective parliaments, and I wish you all the best. And among the 19 national parliaments of the CPA Africa region, it is only one parliament, which is Rwanda, and which is represented here, whose composition of women members of parliament has surpassed the 50%. Yeah. Because they have 2 houses in Rwanda. They have the Senate and they have the Chamber of Deputies. And in the Chamber of Deputies, I think there are 61%. 61.4. So Rwanda has gone that far, and since she's here, she'll be sharing how they do it in Rwanda for other countries to also learn. Now, 3 branches, that is South Africa, Namibia, and Mozambique, has surpassed 40%. So, a clap of hands. And then other 3 branches, which is Tanzania, Cameroon, and Uganda, have surpassed 30%. So, we are getting there, but the composition of, I'm not very sure about Kenya, since you had recently had elections. What's the percentage?
We are almost there.
Almost, okay. So they're probably nearing 30. So the composition of women members of parliament in the remaining 12 branches is still below the threshold of 30%, with Gambia and Nigeria having a composition of less than 10%. And, well, this is the reality on the ground, and this is, it is evident that achieving gender parity in political arena is still, we still have a long way to go. And I'm glad that the chair for CWP actually comes from Nigeria. So I'm sure they're going to look at her and see the impact that she's making to the world, and then change the laws, because she's also a member of parliament, and maybe change the laws accordingly. And Madam Chair, apart from other things, we would want to see Nigeria under your leadership change. We know it's not going to be easy, but we will support you. If we need to come there, show them that women, we are big numbers, we will. Yeah. So I should, however, acknowledge that in some countries, including Tanzania, we have legislated quotas that have successfully increased the number of women. I have mentioned that here that we are more than 30% in the House. And we have different categories of members of parliament. Not in terms of anything. Once you're sworn in, we are all equal. Even here, we are all equal. But we have quotas that are established by the Constitution. And we believe it has helped for the numbers to increase. And the same can be done elsewhere. And we will be learning from how Rwanda has reached the more than 60%. However, one can argue that the use of quotas come with a stigma that women who enter parliament through these mechanisms may be treated differently by other parliamentarians and sometimes the society. So you will be looking at the positive side of these categories that you might have to establish in your own countries. And maybe for the negatives we can discuss later, once the women are already there. Yeah. Now, people may want to know these categories that I keep saying, they're different categories. Okay, our Constitution have got 5 categories of members of parliament. The first one is the group that I represent. So we have 393 members of parliament in total. So I represent the group of 264 members of parliament who are directly elected from constituencies. So I have a constituency. And then you have the second category is the Constitution guarantees 30% must be female. So that 30% is some of the, I think 5 of them come from that group. Do you understand that? Stand up so people see you. Now I think there are 5 of you. Yeah, the 5 of you. Okay. And then that's the 30%. Now the question will be, how do you get the 30%? The political parties. Our constitution here, we don't have independent candidates. Every member of parliament must belong to a political party. So the political parties that participate in the general election, it depends on the number of votes that they get from the members of parliament or from the 264 members of parliament. So you will have a quota in the 30% depending on the number of votes that you got out of the 264 members of parliament. So depending on the percentage, that's how you get them. And in that particular group, we have got from the ruling party or the majority party and the opposition. They all have their own quota because they participated in the general election and they have their own in the House. So one of them represents the members of parliament from opposition or minority, and the other ones come from the ruling party. The third category, she's representing the minister here. She's a member of parliament who is appointed by the president. So the president is allowed out of the 393 is allowed to appoint 10 members of parliament. So she's one of them. So that's the third category. And the 10 is not only meant for women, but the Constitution says at least 5 must be women. So she's part of that 5 of the 10. Okay? So that's the third category. The fourth category, we have 5 members of parliament. You remember I mentioned Zanzibar. You have 5 members of parliament who represent, not Zanzibar, they represent the House of Representatives of Zanzibar. So now we have one of them. Yeah, so out of the 264, 50 constituencies are in Zanzibar. But the five members of parliament are elected from the House of Representatives to come to parliament. So that's the fourth category. And then the fifth is the Attorney General, who can't be here because he's mayor. So you have all the 4 categories. And now I think it's very important for all of us here to understand these dynamics and see how we are going to work out the challenges that our countries are going through and see how we are going to increase the number of women. They'll be able to share their own experiences and then you learn from each other. Ladies and gentlemen, women equal participation in politics and leadership is essential to sustainable development. And here, in 2005, while addressing the United Nations, Kofi Annan, Secretary General then of the United Nations, said, "There's no tool for development more effective than empowerment of women." I urge my fellow women to redouble. We know we are doubling already, but we should redouble our efforts to increase the number of women in parliament and strive for leadership positions that amplify women's voices. Increasing the number of women in parliament and strengthening their leadership role and other elected bodies, this will give more trust and credibility to these women, but also it will ensure that decision makers have a more robust understanding of the people that they represent. Because all over the world, we understand that women make either 50% or slightly more than 50%. So when women are seated on the decision-making tables, men will understand, but also the community will know we are being represented by people who understand us. Ladies and distinguished guests, in Tanzania, I must say, Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, the first female president of the United Republic of Tanzania, is committed to this agenda. While addressing the UN General Assembly's 76th session in September 2021, she spoke at length on gender equality, a cause she keenly advocates. As the first female president, this is her speaking, so I'm quoting her. As the first female president in the history of my country, the burden of expectation to deliver gender equality is heavier on my shoulders. Being passionate about gender equality is not sufficient. And as such, my government is reviewing policy and legal frameworks to come up with actionable and measurable plans to ensure the economic empowerment of women and other aspects of gender equality and gender parity. End of quote. Since she came into power in March 2021, Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan has gained more trust and credibility by breaking the gender glass ceiling in appointing women to senior government positions. Evidently, in September 2021, Her Excellency appointed Honorable Dr. Stergomena Tax as Defense Minister, making her the first woman to hold the critical portfolio since the country's independence. And in South Africa, I think they have had their current speaker as Minister for Defense for quite some time. So here we also have made history through Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan. Further, in 2021, Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan appointed our Secretary General here, as the first female clerk of Parliament. So we are getting there. She has changed history in those two areas. Equally impressive is the legislative trust towards women in senior positions. In the CPA Africa region, with 19 countries, Tanzania is among the 7 countries with female speakers. This makes me one of the 63 women out of 190 speakers worldwide. This is a tremendous honor for me, and I'm glad to be standing here before you. Otherwise, you'll be talking about me in my absence. Now you have seen me. Okay, more has been done to increase the number of women in Tanzania. Out of 25 ministers, 9 are women. This makes the women representation in the cabinet to stand at 36%, which is higher than in many countries. In the judiciary, which in most countries is still considered a male-dominated jurisdiction, out of 97 judges of the High Court, 36 are women. Moreover, 10 out of 26 judges of the Court of Appeal are women. Overall, women make up to 37.4% of all judges in the country, which is an increase of 5.6 compared to 2019. Studies have demonstrated that as more women are elected to office, there is corollary increase in delivering better policy, legislation, and services to others. I hope you agree to this.
Yes.
Ladies and distinguished guests, we all know that it is not easy. Women are particularly vulnerable during campaign periods, which can become hunting season for women candidates. Moreover, men and women elected to public offices endure increasing level of violence, harassment, and abuse, specifically designed to undermine and threaten them because of their gender. I'm very proud of all the women who have faced such challenges and withered the storm of political leadership. And I am also proud by the fact that I am one of them. A recent Interparliamentary Union IPU report indicates that despite their increasing presence in many parliaments, women still face numerous obstacles to being treated as equals in politics. Women often face preconceived notions of how they look, how they should look, how they should speak, and how they should behave. By engaging in politics, women often challenge traditional roles and prompt a redistribution of power away from its traditional male base. And that's the reason why abuse sometimes increases for women participating in politics. In many cases, the harassment and abuse of elected women remain underreported or at times understudied and frequently invisible. Undoubtedly, this has a profound negative impact on the ability of any woman MP to carry out their responsibilities effectively. And as a result, more women are deterred from entering politics. And I believe this meeting is going to ensure that these women who are deterred from entering politics will be inspired by the results of this workshop. Ladies and distinguished guests, I must stress that being a woman in politics and leadership is a challenging task. However, no matter how difficult, we must know it is worth it. We should continue to use our position as women members of parliament to amplify the work and achievement of other women, to encourage more women to enter politics and ultimately bring sustainable development in our societies. Honorable members, the former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon once noted, "Women hold up more than half the sky and represent much of the world's increased unrealized potential. They are educators, they raise the children, and increasingly drive economies. They are natural leaders, and we need their full engagement in government, business, and civil society." Generally, society expects more from women leaders. It is a unique position we find ourselves in as we struggle to find our way towards meaningful participation in leadership positions. Therefore, I hope this workshop will allow you to firm up strategies for increasing the number of women with visible contributions in leadership positions and decision-making bodies. I'm aware that in this workshop, you will discuss and share ideas on different areas. It is my sincere hope that at the end of this workshop, you'll be able to, 1, identify specific factors that facilitate the success of women in attaining political leadership positions. 2, ascertain strategies for increasing the number of women MPs and meaningful representation. A meaningful representation should be stressed there because it's not just a question of having women in particular positions or even having women in our parliaments. We want these women to make a difference. We want able women. The same way there are men who are able and there are men who are not able. So it's not a question of just parading women or saying, yeah, we should also have a woman here, you know, there is no female. No. We need women who are capable to hold those positions. So it's very important that I stress on that as we discuss. We are not just talking about women, but we want women who are capable of delivering the results, but also delivering what they are entrusted to do. 3, solicit views on how women can be better prepared for political leadership. 4, come up with suggestions to address women's apathy to participate in politics. 5, discuss the way forward on all bottlenecks for women's meaningful participation in politics. And 6, discuss more policy-driven strategies which can be adopted to create awareness in our societies on the importance of women in political leadership and other leadership positions. Because we can't all be in politics. We need women in other areas as well. Let us take this as a challenge to not only aim at increasing women's representation in parliament, but also at making their contributions more meaningful when they are in parliament. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the African Regional Secretariat under the leadership of Ms. Nenela Mihambi and her team for their tireless effort in coordinating CPA programs, including those of Africa region. Dear delegates, having said that, it is now my honor and pleasure to declare this workshop officially opened.